As I look out my window, it's a nice, mild spring day. Leaves just come out on the trees. Sky is blue, clouds are white. It's warm but not too hot. Nice breezy day. Everybody's out somewhere doing something, which I ought, well, feeling like I ought to have gone out to do certain things. None of it really urgent, but things I wanted to do. And I look out and I think three things about life. One thing about life is it's each moment, it's the feelings of each moment. It's life is how does each spring day feel when you're out there and the breeze is blowing and the sun is shining or the sun is going behind a cloud, and you're looking at the flowers and you're seeing, hearing the birds. That's how life feels from moment to moment of actually being materially in life and going through it like that. That's one thing about life, that if you were going to capture life in a book or in film, in any manner whatsoever, if you're trying to capture the experience of life, that's one definite thing you want to try to capture. That's the moment-to-moment feelings of our experience from moment to moment. And it might be a spring, it might be how it feels to be out in the snow in winter, how it feels to be out swimming in the summer, how the smells when the leaves and the acorns are falling in the autumn. Then there's the other aspect of mentality, which is what is the mentality that people carry through life, and people can go through the same physical experience. People could be walking down the same street with the acorns or the snow or the birds and the sunshine, and still each one is carrying their own personal mentality, their own personal attitude that may be quite different, even though the things that they're experiencing materially are identical or very identical. So that's the other thing, is personality, mentality. And then the third thing is this general overview of the whole experience, which is not from the moment-to-moment perspective, but from the overview of your life as a whole. And you think of like who was this person? What did this person stand for? What did this person achieve in their life and try to achieve in their life? Which is a broader identity thing. So there's identity which is a broader general view of your existence. There's the personality thing, which is how you go from moment to moment, how you carry your identity, I suppose, from moment to moment. And then there's the moment-to-moment experience, which is the actual physical. So, probably to simplify this thought, is that there's two different aspects. The one being the momentary aspect, which is pretty much material. Moment to moment, material. What is the physical experience of being in life? That's one thing. Right now I'm sitting in this room, I'm looking at this room, I'm sensing the dimensions of how much space and air there is between me and all the walls and all the objects in the room. That's a physical experience of this. And then there's the other extreme. There's the whole general identity experience of what is your identity through life, which is not a moment to moment, but it's a complete. It's all the moments rolled up together as a single unity. And what is that identity of your experience? Which is essentially what is your mental identity. So there's a moment-to-moment physical experience of life, and then there's the overall mental identity, and then there's the interaction of the two, the intersection of these two, the material and the mental aspects of life, which is the moment-to-moment. What's the personality and attitude? What is the attitude that you bring? And I think I think a person's attitude is the intersection of this overview of what is your identity, which is something outside of time, and how you're squeezing this mental identity into the material moment. And there is where you come up with attitude. So people carrying their attitudes and expressing their attitudes comes from their general concept of themselves and of their identity, and how they feel that they're squeezing, fitting, joining together their overview of their identity, who and what they think they are, with the momentary realities of whatever experience and situation that they're in, an interaction. So when somebody's interacting with you, they're funneling their own identity, their own self-concept into this verbal interaction with you, and it all expresses itself in how they deal with you. Now, if people could let go of, as so many of these people like Buddhists, for instance, and not just Buddhists, but that's a good example. You hear about Buddhists talking about letting go of your ego, letting go of your identity. And if you can let go, if people could let go more of their immediate ego identity, and then they could just view situations more objectively, and deal with them with less of this hostility and personality that people tend to inject into interactions, because they're always coming at it from their own perspective of, this is who I am and you have to conform to deal with my great identity, and you have to conform to me, and I'm going to be relentless and constantly trying to dominate. If people could let go of that, they could deal with each other a lot better. They could say, okay, well, here's our experience, let's see what we can do about it. And my experience with my family, it's not what you would call ideal. And when I think back what happened when I left, as far as my father, when I finally just left my father's house and just had nothing to do with him after that, it was because my dealings with him, my relation with him, I found had become more of a problem than of a benefit to me. That's when I had to leave, when I realized that the relationship was more of a problem than a benefit. And that's what generally happens it certainly happened with my family. I ended up leaving when it was more of a... Now, 2 or 3 members of my family were always a problem and never a benefit. And now I'm faced with this situation where there's only one person left who even is worth dealing with at all. But even he has these and always has had this wall. Like like if you have two magnets and they're both facing the same poles toward each other and they're repelling each other, there's these walls, there's these little, you can talk about this, you can talk about it, but there's certain subjects that you mustn't mention, because then immediately this force field goes up. You're mentioning that thing, you're talking about that, stop it, you mustn't. And it immediately creates this atmosphere of antagonism and tension. And so there's an underlying tension in the relation, my dealings with the one member of my family that I still have anything to do with, because he's not a total asshole. There's this attitude of tension, is that even when we're being relaxed and accomplishing things, there's always this wall, there's this do not, and there's this fence that says do not cross this beyond this boundary. That's what it is. Like there's an electric fence that says do not attempt, and I'm at this point, I'm well aware that don't even approach that fence. Certainly don't try to touch that fence, because all you're going to get is this field of electricity, of electrical force field, trying to shock you and keep you from touching that fence. Don't even approach this area. So the existence of that kind of electrical fence, force field, in dealings with another person, creates an attitude of tension, and that all the time you're always saying, well, I have to make sure I keep this far from that fence. I have to keep the tension levels down, the electrical field levels down, by staying this far from that fence, and don't wait, you don't start to approach that fence. Remember to always be headed in the opposite direction. That in itself is a form of tension. When there's certain off limits, out of bounds areas that you're not allowed to, that if you even look in their direction, it starts creating this force field, this electrical force field, this buildup of force and tension and energy. That in itself is a form of tension. And then there's the other members of my family that have never been any benefit. They've always been hostility, nothing but hostility. So here's the weird thing. Okay, so this is the weird thing for me now, that this one brother of mine that I do have some dealings with, among this forbidden, out of bounds, mustn't discuss this sort of thing topics, is the subject of the other members of my family and what assholes they have been to me my whole life. And he doesn't want to have to hear about this. He wants to always be, oh well, you know, everything is okay and everybody's good, and it's just you're just seeing it from a different perspective, and blah 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 blah, all this psychological bullshit that's supposed to make everybody's it's all impartial, unbiased, impartial, and everybody's just as good as everybody else. It's just a difference of perspective, blah 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 blah. Instead of recognizing that certain people are really flaming fucking assholes, and the certain other members of my family have always been flaming fucking assholes to me, and this one last person doesn't want to, can't even hear me saying this, wants to keep telling me, oh, I should try to be more friendly with them, and without the slightest ability to understand that not only can I not be friendly with them, but you don't understand, these people have been complete fucking assholes to me my whole fucking life. They have treated me like shit my whole fucking life, and have always done everything they could to hurt me. And I'm not just imagining this because I'm delusional, I'm making it up, and I'm psychotic. And if I seem to be psychotic on occasion in reaction, it's because it's reaction to this extreme hostility that I've encountered from these bullying bastards my whole life. And then instead of seeing what it is I'm reacting to, you say, oh, well, you seem to be acting psychotic because you're angry. Now, anger, and I've discussed this, I think, in other pony videos, anger is it's your body's natural response to circumstances. It's there for a definite reason, just as hunger is there for a definite reason. Hunger is there to tell you that your body is running out of material whatever it is. It's running material energy. Your body is running out of material energy, and you need to get more food. That's the hunger is there for a reason. And if you didn't feel hunger, you probably at some point die from malnutrition if you stopped eating. It's there to tell you something. And anger is the same way. Anger is there to tell you that there's some serious situation that you have to be aware of. And then if you don't, if you're not aware of the danger of the situation, it's going to harm you. This is the reason why anger exists. But instead of that, people view anger as a bad thing, as something that we have to get rid of because it's bad in itself. And so they give you medication, they give you pills to make you stop being angry. Well, all that does, it's like giving you pills to make you stop being hungry, and eventually a lot of people are going to die from anorexia if you go around dispensing these non-hunger pills. And if you go around dispensing non-anger pills, a lot of people are going to be injured by circumstances that their body and their mind ought to naturally be defending themselves against. That's all it is. That's all that anger is. It's a natural defense. Anger is a natural defense system, and when there are things you need to be defending yourself against, then that's when you need anger. That's when anger is a necessity. That's what people don't want to recognize. And so it really annoys me when this one last brother of mine tries to act in this oblivious manner of, oh, you should be going to visit your other brothers and be friendly with them. And any time I try to tell him the very real reasons that go back half a century of why this cannot be, and it's because of the other brothers being so completely hostile to me my whole life, and all the things they've done to me, and they will continue to treat me in the same manner. These are the reasons why this is just a ridiculous fantasy of, oh, let's all pretend we're getting along and we're a nice happy family. So that's what, the anger there is there as a result of the dangerous situation there. And I guess I pretty much said the thing I was thinking, I guess. It's just annoying. It's just irritating when if I try to discuss, I can't discuss why it is that this is a ridiculous fantasy, and that I'm not going to be friendly to these people who have been hostile my whole life, and have always been and always will be. And it's just ridiculous.